It has been another great month of progress on my game, and this time we have reworked all the bosses, all three of them, to be a multi-phase setup. So that each boss now has at least 2 stages, if not 3. So let me show you their fun new mechanics. Starting with the Great Spider right over here. As you can see, we now have a boss bar when we enter the room that shows us their health, and when you come in and start to fight them, you can see the health bar automatically goes down and it goes into yellow. When you stop attacking them, you can see it fully drops down, just a little bit animation. And in phase 1, which is this right here, he just goes ahead and does some regular jump attacks, nothing too fancy. But if I was to get him down pretty low to 50%, he will go into the next phase. Let's go ahead and whack him up a little bit. And if I get him to halfway, he roars, he goes up in the air, and he summons these little spiderlings that you need to be careful of. They're pretty aggressive. Now, right now, I'm demoing this without any power-ups whatsoever, but there is actually AoE to your attacks by default now. So when they bunch up, which they do, it becomes a lot easier to take them out. Once you take them all out, you can see the spider then comes back down, and now the next phase of the spider starts. So not only does he do more attacks in succession potentially, it is not guaranteed of how many in a row he does. You just have to be careful. But if you stay in melee range, he will do more. And here we go. Look at that. He now has this charge attack. He does multiple charges in a row, and you can get away from him relatively easily. Otherwise, he will kind of charge you down if you stay too far away. You can see he does a few charges. And if you're on the move constantly, you'll get away with him. But this is now just a more aggressive phase. As you can see, you can pretty much like maneuver your way around it once you have enough experience with it. But otherwise, he does the attacks and the charges. And this is pretty much it. These are the kind of the 3 phases. The starting phase where he's not really aggressive, he doesn't charge. The middle one where you deal with the little spiderlings. And the last one where he kind of goes into the air and then becomes far more aggressive. Next one is this lovely gentleman right over here. Just like before, he still will do his regular bites and he'll do a range attack. But this time, the range attack is a multi-projectile, as you can see. So you gotta be careful not to get caught up in that. And he does just regular bites and multi-projectiles in the first little bit. But once you get him down 25%, which you can see here with the little dividers up top, once you get him there, he kind of roars up. And then you have a phase of meteors crashing down. And you need to just make sure you're out of the way or they do quite a lot of damage. Assuming you stay out of the way, you can progress on to the next stage. And he does this every 25%. And at 50%, now he's in the next phase. So he becomes a lot more aggressive. He doesn't do any more damage, but he does more attacks in sequence. And if he does his range attacks, you can see he does shoot a lot more attacks. So you gotta be really careful. As long as you kind of dash out in time, you get away with invulnerability frames. Or of course you can block them, but you do still take some damage from that. And you can see, if you get hit by multiple, it is quite a lot of damage. Probably needs to be tweaked for that. And if you'd like to check out this build for yourself, it is available on my Patreon. We can join these wonderful people here in supporting what I do. It really means a lot. And I've also knocked down the price point of this tier, so it's now available to far more people if you are interested. Thank you again to my patrons. Let's get back to it. And our last boss is this gentleman here in the 3rd and final level. And just like the previous ones, his starting is relatively simple. He just does some attacks. Now, he does do occasionally a single attack and a double attack, so be careful. But once you get into 25% life, you got to watch out because he starts shooting a laser and does quite a lot of damage. So what you want to do is kind of stay on the inside and just run around, and you should be able to get away. And he does this at 25% increments. Once he's at 50% life, he does become more aggressive. And again, he does this laser at every single time. And if I was to run around too fast, there you go, he'll swap sides. He just tries to get to you, but he can only rotate so quickly. But now that he's below 50% health, and he's just going to be a little more aggressive, if I stay close and I don't get out of the way, he's just going to keep attacking. He effectively goes from 2 attacks to 4 attacks, which includes double attacks. So he just becomes far more aggressive during the stage. So you need to be a little more careful. But those are the 3 bosses with all their multi-phase attacks. Now, of course, this is in their final form. I will continue to work on them in the future. But what's coming up next is a rework again of the entire navigation system, because right now it feels a little bit difficult to navigate and find the boss room, I find. And I'll probably swap out how the enemies are along with it. It's going to be another big rework, but I think it's going to go in the right direction. Now, this game has come a long way since I first began. If you're interested in the journey, check out this video right here to see where it all came from.